Welcome to another Thursday at Ajuwaya.com, an NYSC program where we bring you news regarding the scheme and where we also discuss other interesting topics. My name is Edidion Uko. I am your host. For today's show, I have a guest and we'll be discussing sports in Nigeria, where we'll look at the challenges facing the sporting industry in Nigeria. We'll also take a look at the brief analysis on the placement of Nigerian sporting industry in Africa and the world at large. We'll look at the years Nigeria took on the spotlight at different sporting events and lots more. It promises to be educative, exciting and entertaining. So just sit back and listen. But before then, we'll be going on a quick break. Coming up next is Ajuwaya News. So don't go nowhere.
Good day viewers, this is Ajuwaya News. I am Martins Makonjola. Before the news, first the headlines. NYSC at 50. Osun holds unity walk to commemorate Golden Jubilee. Now the news in details. As part of the activities to mark the celebration of the National Youth Service Corps 50th anniversary, themed 5 decades of fostering unity and national development, the NYSC Osun State has embarked on a unity walk within the state metropolis. The unity walk, which was held nationwide in line with the directive from the Directorate Headquarters, was the first in the lined-up activities marking the Golden Jubilee of the NYSC. Speaking at the flag-off of the walk on Monday, which started from Secretariat in Osogbo to the popular Freedom Park, the Director, Southwest Area, Mr. Amusan Oluwole Julius, appreciated the management of the scheme in the state for mobilizing corps members and for the organized planning of the work. According to him, the NYSC scheme, which was first a child of necessity birth as a result of the Civil War to rebuild, reconstruct and reconcile the nation, has today become a household name spanning 5 decades. He also stated that the scheme has brought about development in the educational, health, infrastructural and agricultural sector, also through the skills acquisition and entrepreneurship development, SAID. Speaking earlier, the NYSC Osun State Coordinator, Mr. Agbo Ndoma Obim, eulogized the Director General, Brigadier General YD Ahmed, for approving the week-long celebration of the Golden Jubilee of the scheme, stressing that it was a well-deserved honor and celebration. Agbo said that the scheme was created 22nd of May 1973 to unite and integrate the nation, instill discipline in the Nigerian youth, instill spirit of self-reliance in the youth, among others. He said further that the Golden Jubilee is a special anniversary which the scheme cannot but celebrate because of how far it has been able to achieve and it's still achieving its objectives. Agbo stated that the NYSC scheme has been remarkably impactful in fostering unity and national development by promoting national integration, inculcating discipline among corps members, building skills through its entrepreneurial programs, hence the need for a grand celebration. He added that the essence of the work is to create awareness among citizens concerning the activities of the scheme. We want the whole world to know about all that the NYSC has been doing, he stressed. Agbo appreciated the Director, Southwest Area and his entourage for choosing to hold the work with the Osun State Secretariat and applauded the corps members for turning out en masse to the historic unity walk. At the end of the event, The Director, Southwest Area, and the State Coordinator congratulated corps members for being able to successfully complete the work. They also noted that the work was just the first activity in the anniversary celebration, as other events are scheduled to hold from the 5th of May through 21st to mark the anniversary. Hence, corps members are advised to continue working diligently, avoid unnecessary travels, and remain good ambassadors of the scheme. That has been the Ajuwaya News. Thank you for listening. Join us next time, same station. Bye-bye.
Welcome back from that short break, and thank you so much, Mr. Martins Makanjola, for that Ajuwaya News. As I said earlier, we'll be discussing sports in Nigeria generally, but we'll narrow it down to the challenges facing the sporting industry in Nigeria. Nigeria, regarded as the giant of Africa, has achieved a lot when it comes to sports and sporting events, and she has also faced some few challenges. Here with me to discuss on this topic is my guest, a lover of sports and a sports analyst. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much, Adijan. It's my pleasure to be here to talk sports.
Yes, it's nice to meet you. How are you doing?
I'm very fine. Thank you very much.
All right, so coming with you.
My name is Testimony Agi, and I love writing sports, love talking about sports, and it's not just about talking about sports. It's more about like solution sports journalism, where we try to see where we were before and see what was working then and what didn't work, and bring it to the fore, compare it to the present, and see what we actually need to do to move sports ahead and what we want for ourselves in the future to drive the sporting industry ahead.
Okay, very beautiful. That's nice to know. So without wasting much time, let's delve right into our topic for today. But let's, away from that, let's talk about analysis. Let's take a brief analysis on the placement of Nigerian sporting industry in Africa and the world at large.
It all boils down to like management, because I always say that, because if the management is not right, a lot of things wouldn't work as it is supposed to work. For instance, right now in Africa, there is a kind of new challenge coming from Senegal, because they are doing everything right at this point in time, and that stems back to like strategic plans they've actually put in place for like 10-15 years, and it's paying off now. This is not just something they started recently. This is something that they've planned and put in place and say, okay, this is what we want to achieve in 4, 5, 6, 7 years, and it is paying off. 2021, they were AFCON champions, the Taranga Lions of Senegal. They won the beach soccer, they won the under 20 AFCON, and recently now they have moved into the semi-finals of the under 17 World Cup. I think these are all the things they've put in place, all the problems they've identified, and try to solve them. Because if you do all of these things, there is no room for failure. So Senegal has been able to achieve that. Now if you bring that back home, bring that back to Nigeria, you can see that since the 2013 triumph in the AFCON, and late Stephen Keshi led Nigeria to that one, we haven't had anything that resembles that. And that is just to say that the standard has dropped drastically. So if we want to improve on that, we have to look at what worked then and look what we are doing wrong now. Because if you look at the team that actually won the AFCON, I'm just using sports as a case study now. I am football rather as a case study.
Okay.
If you look at what worked then, many home-based players were in that team that actually won the AFCON 2013, and we saw how they moved from the group stages down to the knockouts and eventually the finals, and it worked. They were very good, very good on their game.
True.
But then in Tunisia 2021, we weren't good enough to actually go ahead to actually in Cameroon rather, we weren't good enough to go ahead and win the AFCON. That's because of the internal problems we had. We keep changing coaches and keep changing management. But then take a holistic look at the athletes and how over the years we have very good athletes, no doubt. But then if we don't have the good management, we don't prioritize athletes very well, it becomes a problem because nobody will want to be motivated to actually carry out a particular task. Now the motivation they all have as a people is that nationalism. Everybody wants to represent Nigeria, fly the colors of Nigeria, irrespective of the pay. But then if you don't prioritize these people, if you don't put these people at the top, the hierarchy of your scale of preference, they don't actually want to give you their all. So if you don't do that, the management do not actually do that, it becomes a problem for them, and most people do not want to come back home to play. We have a lot of athletes out there in the United States and England. All of them are playing and representing different countries. They are doing very well. But coming back home, they would say no because they don't know what they will meet back home. They don't know if they want to be met and all that. So I think that's one of the key areas we need to work on.
Wow, that is very interesting. So moving further, let's look at the sporting events or 10 most popular sporting events in Nigeria.
First of all, the most important is football. Nobody is going to dispute that for Nigeria. Then followed by athletics, which is a combination of running, shot put, discus, long jump, high jump. Then you talk about table tennis. Then you talk about judo, talk about boxing, and you talk about javelin, which is actually part of the track and field events. I think all of these are popular, but I think priority is mostly placed on football. After football, priority is then placed on basketball and then the athletics. Okay,
that is great to know. So looking at this sporting events, I'm pretty sure that there are pioneers that made this events become popular in Nigeria. So could you give some acknowledgements to them?
I think the most popular is the Olympics '94, which actually brought the Super Eagles into the limelight. They shocked the world. The likes of Austin J.J. Okocha, Kanu Nwankwo, these men actually took Nigeria by the scruff of the neck. I'm not saying others didn't perform particularly well, but these were the poster boys of the Super Eagles. They did very well. They scored a lot of important goals and actually brought the name Super Eagles to the fore. And at that point in time, there were many artifacts eulogizing the heroics of the Super Eagles, and that goes on to show that these people actually knew what they wanted to fly the colors of the country. If you look at the Italian national team and how they sing their anthem during games, you see the passion. It's more than just football. It's like playing for blood and sweat, trying to represent their motherland. I think this is what the athletes did for us. Then for the likes of Blessing Okabare, who was recently called out for using illicit substance to actually boost her performance on the track and field event. That was somebody people actually look up to as an athlete because she was winning gold medals for fun. Then you talk about Blessing Ududuru. Then you talk about Toby Amusan, who actually broke series of records. She set a record and break a record. I think all of these people are pioneers, and these people, you cannot just talk about the sports without mentioning these people, because they have so much to offer the sports. And most young players, most young athletes, if you want to ask them why they actually want to venture into the sports, they will tell you the remarkable things these people have done and why they actually think flying the colors of Nigeria is important and they want to follow the footsteps of these people. So I think it's a good kind of career to emulate for a lot of people, but then we don't see many of them right now doing that. So people still use the reference of the past activities of these athletes who we eulogize now and say, oh, they actually did well for the country, irrespective of the economic and political situation. They actually did well and they actually flew the colors of the country very well.
Interesting. I would say a very big kudos to them. Now, okay, moving further, let's look at the limelight or the years Nigeria took on spotlights at different sporting events?
I think that's quite dicey because there are a lot of like very big moments for Nigeria. Recently, there was a UFC bout between a Nigerian. She's a policewoman. Her name is Juliet Uka. I think she's currently invincible. That is, she hasn't lost any game. She has played 4 professional games.
Wow.
And won all of them. And the last one recently that actually brought her to the limelight was a particular fight with a Brazilian. I can't recall her name right now, but the fight ended 26-30, 27-30, 27-30, and that was how the judges unanimously gave her the victory over that. Then aside that, we have a lot of athletes. I've mentioned the likes of Blessing Okabare, Tobi Amusan. I think all of these people have really contributed. And one, like, I'll revert to this 94 Olympics and how Nigeria really performed. I think the standard was, the bar was brought, because of the status of Nigeria at that point in time, the bar was brought down. But then they actually did very well. In the World Cup in 1996, I think that was Nigeria's debut into the World Cup. They did very well. They actually played against the big boys and qualified they were the underdogs, but at the end of the day they qualified from the group and got knocked out in the quarterfinals. I think that was one of the biggest achievements that actually brought sports in Nigeria to the limelight. And I think people actually want to look back to this and say, what did we do there that we are doing now? Because if you look at Nigeria in the recent World Cups, they haven't really performed optimally. I think our best World Cup so far was in 2018, not 2018, 2018 Russia, because we didn't play in 2022 Qatar because we didn't qualify through the qualification stage. 2018 Russia, where Ahmed Musa was carrying Super Eagles on his back, and a lot of players were performing optimally. But then we don't see that. Even though we have even good players now, technical players who can actually fill in the shoes of shouldering the responsibilities of Nigeria, we don't really have that. So I'll always revert to the 1996 World Cup, the 94 Olympics, and Tobi Amusan's triumph recently in athletics.
All right, that is really interesting. It has been an interesting discussion so far. So looking at our focus for today, which is our topic, the challenges facing the sporting industry in Nigeria, could you tell us some or a few of those challenges, probably one or two, for want of time?
There are a few, but then as you said, I'll actually nail down some, because if you look at a lot of things going on recently, the Nigerian Premier Football League, formerly known as the Nigerian Professional Football League, was actually called out because players were not being paid their gratuities at the end of the day. So they were asking the LMC, which is the league management, the IMC rather, which is the interim management committee of the Nigerian Football Professional Premier Football League, to actually look into those matters. Because if you don't give these people the remuneration, they have family, this is like their day job.
Yes,
they have to get into receiving salary, receiving allowances to actually take care of their, because if you don't do that, you're taking away their basic rights, and that is why they actually come out to play. They don't want to play on empty stomachs. And so one of them is management. If you go to Port Harcourt, there is this particular stadium called the Adoki Amasimaka Stadium in Port Harcourt. When it was first inaugurated and people were using it, it was lovely, but then the management of the place is not up to par. And if you look at the situation and the standard of the stadium, it has deteriorated, and not many people want to go and say, I want to use there. Even when the Rivers United wanted to play a CAF Confederations Cup, the committee from CAF came and inspected the stadium, and they said it wasn't fit for use, so they had to use the Uyo Township Stadium out there in Akwa Ibom. So management first. Then the second one is, I would say, inferiority complex, because many people do not want to participate or or fly the flags of Nigeria because they don't feel it's not worth it. But that is unpatriotic from their part. Because if you look at people who should be given the opportunity, are people who are so proud to be called Nigerians, people who want to fly the flag of Nigeria. So when management is right, I think many of them will change their mind to say, okay, I want to fly the colors of Nigeria. But then we are in very difficult situations, because if you look at our standards compared to what we have out there in Europe and where we have what we have in America, it's comparatively different, and the difference is much. We need a lot of intentionality and a lot of work to be done to be able to meet the standards of them. So I think those are the basically the two main challenges: management and then unpatriotism from these athletes.
Wow, very interesting. So these challenges, what are some possible solutions to these challenges? Could you tell us?
Possible solutions are basically to, first of all, get the management right. What you're supposed to do, you have to bring in technocrats into this game, people who know these games, ex-internationals, to be able to oversee these sports, because a lot of sports are dying in Nigeria, and if you don't revive them, we lose them. For instance, there is a particular tennis player, Aruna Quadri. I think he's flying the flags of Nigeria. He's in his late 30s nowadays, but then you just hear his name. You don't see anyone being lined up to actually take his place if he eventually retires at the end of the day. I think that's it. You have to follow up these athletes. You have to bring people who can actually replace them and fly the colors of Nigeria abroad. Then secondly, this still management, you have to prioritize what should be prioritized. You don't have to leave what is most important and go for what is not important.
There should be a scale of preference.
So the scale of preference, you have to take the most important, that if this is not present, nothing works. So that is what you have to take first. Then you leave the least, because most times when the day is out, something still functions. So I think that's that. Take these things as they are, prioritize them, bring in people who have knowledge about these things, and everything is good to go. And management.
Wow. That was a very interesting discussion. I want to thank you so much, Mr. Testimony Akambi, for that enlightening discussion. It was entertaining, it was educative. And for us to grow and achieve more as a country in the sporting industry, we have to try as much as possible to overcome these challenges. For us to be truly recognized as the giants of Africa, we have to find solutions to these challenges. Thank you so much, the Osun State Broadcasting Corporation, for this wonderful opportunity. And thank you to the editorial team for this platform. I truly appreciate it. And to our well-esteemed viewers out there, without whom there would be no Ajuwaya, thank you so much. I love you all, and you are not left out. You can also share your thoughts on some of the challenges facing the sporting industry in Nigeria. All you have to do is go to YouTube, search for OSBC, like OSBC, and follow OSBC. Until next time, I remain your host, Edidium Uko. Bye for now.